Headshot.
In this video we're going to be talking about the GST. So GST stands for Goods and Services Tax, and this is a special type of tax introduced by the government on the 1st of July 2000. So this is a tax on most goods and services sold in Australia. Now the special rate that we need to remember is 10%. So this is the current GST rate, 10%. Let's now have a look how this affected businesses. So prior to the 1st of July 2000, so before the GST was introduced, let's say this business or a business is selling a can of Coke. Before this date, they would sell this can of Coke, let's say for $1. That's fine. So you go into the shop, you'd buy a can of Coke for $1. After 1 July 2000, things changed. What businesses needed to do was add 10% onto this price. So instead of charging $1 for this can of Coke, they had to add 10% to this price. So let's find 10% of $1. To do that, we'd just convert this to a decimal. So 0.1 times $1, and that's going to equal, I grab my calculator, it's pretty easy, you should be able to do it in your head, 0.1 times $1, enter, I get 0.1 or 10 cents. So instead of the business charging $1 for that can of Coke, they actually now had to charge $1.10. So we've paid $1.10 for this can of Coke. So the business actually will receive $1.10 when we hand over this money. But the business does not actually keep this $1.10. They only keep $1. The 10 cents actually is going to go to the government. So they're going to use this 10 cents to build hospitals, roads, etc. So it's just a way for the government to raise money. Let's now go through some examples. So this first example here, we have a base price ex GST of $200. We're going to try to find the GST component of that and then the total price including GST. So we know the GST rate is 10%. So to find the GST component of $200, we can either multiply by 0.1 or divide this by 10. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to divide this by 10 on my calculator. If I go 200 divided by 10, I get 20. So the GST component is $20. So the total price including GST will be the 200 plus the 20. So the total price that the consumer will pay is $220. Let's do this next example now. Our ex-GST price is $900, so we divide by 10 to figure out the GST component of that. 900 divided by 10 equals $90. To find the total price including GST, we would add the two together. So the final price that the consumer would pay is $990. The business would actually only keep these amounts. These two amounts would go to the government. What we're going to do now is we're going to work backwards from a GST inclusive amount to try to find the GST component. So most often when you see something being sold, it will include GST. So to find the GST component, what we have to do is we have to divide by 11. Let's test this now. If I go $990 divided by 11, I will get that $90. Let's now have a quick look at a real life example. So in my wallet, I'm just going to pull out a receipt to see how the GST works. So this is a receipt from the Eaton's Hill Hotel. So I went here a couple of weeks ago, got a couple meals. I was pretty hungry, but let's have a look down here. Here you can see the total that I paid was $67. On the receipt it says GST included in the total 6.09. So GST is inclusive in this total. So what we would do is divide by 11. Let's do a quick test. You can see it up there. So 67 divided by 11 equals 6.09, which matches to this receipt here. Let's now make a rule for that. So rule 1, to find the GST component of a price including GST, what we do is we divide by 11. Now I'm going to teach you two shortcuts with this. So let's have a look at this first example. $200 is the base price, ex GST. The total price is $220. To move from $200 to $220 without having to calculate this GST component, all we need to do with the base price is times it by 1.1. So on your calculator, if you go 200 times by 1.1, you get 220. Let's now do this second example. If I want to find the total GST price of this $900 without finding the GST component, I'm going to times this by 1.1 again. So if I go 900 times 1.1, I will get 990. Let's now do it the other way. What if I'm given the total price including GST and I want to find the base price? So I'm moving in this direction here. So I'm skipping out the GST component. What would I do? Instead of multiplying, I'll actually divide. So what I'll do is I'll divide by 1.1. Let's test that now. If I go 990 divided by 1.1, enter, that equals $900. Let's now summarize those two rules. So rule 2, to find the total price, including GST, of an ex-GST amount, we multiply by 1.1. Rule 3, to find the ex-GST price of an inclusive GST amount. So ex-GST price of an inclusive GST amount, we divide by 1.1.